Good afternoon. Let's see, today is going to be setting up dedicated server stuff for customers. So what we're going to need to do is make it so when people go to our download page, they can actually download the dedicated server for Windows and then run it. So we got to figure out exactly how we want to do that. Alright, so how the hell did I structure all this? See, basically we've got this web page that I'm working on locally, and we want our server to show up here. We'll have a zip file for it, and then we'll have some we'll need server login codes that you can download and then you can use. So let's see. Alright, just answering some emails. Alright. Gotta do business things. What the hell? This is stupid. Alright, so we need to get that thing showing up on the page. How in the hell does that actually work? So we're calling into our server. Let's see. Alright, so if we go to our account page, we're going to our index HTML. We've got owned products. Alright, so owned products. Good afternoon, Karakan. Yeah, I'm back, probably streaming similar to how I was before, where I'll be streaming a lot. Hopefully, basically every day. Since we're not in such a ridiculous time crunch like we were before. Alright, so I'm looking for the product container. Alright, so we're going to go through all the products that we own, and we're going to go through the download links for those products. Alright, so in our config here, it's been a while since I looked at this, so I'm still trying to get my bearings about where the hell everything is. Alright, so creating product list cast signatures, get from product order by, so platform, product bar names, deployment date, and all that. Okay. So it's inside of the platform database. Alright, we got product. Okay, so basically we need to deploy a product to the environment with a specific download link, and then it'll just magically show up as having access. So how does the job work? We've got deploy product, which takes an environment, a product, so I'm using stuff here. So what I'm going to need to do is brackensec server x64. We're going to need brackensec server x86. Let me put an underscore here just to be awesome. Alright, so we need to deploy the product, and I think our tools config. Thank you for hosting, Karakan. It was very appreciated. I'm sure everybody who watches your amazing art channel will also want to watch me struggle with programming difficulties. Alright, so we just have to get this thing configured properly in order to actually do this. So we need to go to our tools for deployment. That's just all over the place here. So we're calling deploy product.bat. So it's scripts, online, deploy product. So it's product deployment tool. Which is this WD deployment tool stuff. Alright, so we've got our product, our version, our upload. We can pick latest for that, and we'll grab that specific thing out and upload that to the proper database. So what we're going to need to do is, I think, where do we actually take the product name? Product.artifact. Alright, so it's inside of our config, so I'll have to go edit that. Gotta spread the brackensec word? Yeah, it's true. Only playing against bots get annoying. We'll get more people though. It's only a matter of time. If we can, we'll just make better fake people. Alright, so if we go to our config, we're gonna need to Alright, so we got products. Alright, so yeah, I can show some of this. Basically, we got our product here. So our product is going to be brackensec server x64, and we're going to have another artifact, just brackensec server x86. And what I'm working on right now, Karakan, is when you go to the test page, I mean the online page, you know, you can download stuff. You're going to be able to download the server, so you can run your own server and run it as like a standalone server thing. So you won't have to host it yourself, and you could like leave that server online. when you're not running the game, and it's not going to take up too many resources. Or maybe you got a box in the corner or something that you want to set up as a server or whatever, Alright, so this is going to be artifact. I need the name of the artifact. Artifact is Dashkin's server shipping x64. And the name of this one is like that. Alright, let's go take a look at what's actually in this artifact. We've got our server executable. We've got DLLs and bins and all sorts of crap. Let's see, is there any PDBs? Yeah, okay, so we're not stripping PDBs out of this artifact, which is not what we want. We want to definitely strip PDBs out of the artifact, because we don't want to ship those. Those are gigantic. So no more not having to reset every time? Not sure what you mean by having to reset every time. This is so you can run your own servers, and once I get it so everybody can run their own servers, then we need to work on how to configure them at runtime and everything, so that we don't have to like shut down the server and turn it back on to change the map or something like that. Alright, so it's going to be scripts, build, unreal, build and publish, shipping x64 and x86. Alright, so we got create standalone server, source indexing, source symbols, publish artifacts, generate installer. Alright, here we go. So the question is, do I want to make a new artifact for this, like Dashkin server, like shipping 2? It's probably a decent plan, but nah, let's just clean it up here. Alright, so we're going to want to clean the server dir. Yeah, basically, Karakan, you'll have like I think a JSON file where you'll be able to define all that stuff for your server. So it'll be real easy to kind of configure. Alright, so that'll remove the PDBs and the text files and everything else from there. So we don't have to worry about that. Let's make sure the x86 version is also cleaned. Alright, so that should clean that up. Awesome, okay, so Removing PDBs from server, shipping builds, updating configs, removing stuff from dev script. Yeah, that's another thing I might want to do. I'll actually write that down, Karakan. The saving your game settings in your configuration. And I can probably do that pretty easily. So like, if you saved your name and if it was, I won't save your password. I don't want to do that, but I'll save everything else. Just because I don't want to touch people's passwords. I don't want to do anything with them. Like, no liability, please. Alright, so I'm going to go and I'm going to test this out real quick. So we want the shipping x64. So what I'm going to do here is, since nobody's using this and nobody cares, I'm just going to delete all the PDBs out of the latest version just because I can. Alright, so there's nothing here. Alright, so there's 300 megs. But we're going to need to do something with this. We're going to probably need to zip this thing up when we upload it, because right now it's expecting a single file, I'm pretty sure. Because this installer, these artifacts are just like a single executable. Yeah, so we need to zip. Alright, so this deployment tool needs to be updated. So I'll have to restart Eclipse because it's all angry. $30 goals, you have a training regimen? Shit. We're screwed. Alright, so I'm also going to have to change this job. I'm going to need a Alright, so we need zip in here. So deploy product.bat needs to be updated. Scripts online deploy products. Right, zip equals underscore zip. Alright. New ball, new gameplay. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I'd really like to get all that sort of stuff in there where we have different balls that you can. Well, we'll just have lots of different options, right? So, like, if you're running your own server, we want you to be able to control how many bots, how many people, some of the gravity, you know, if you can punch people in the face or not. A lot of that needs to be configurable. Alright, So get Argus bool. This is zip default value false. So if we're gonna zip this up, we find the latest build. Alright, so we found the build. We've got the version number. So if zip, we need to make a new file. Alright, so if zip, temp zip equals create temp dir. Zip. Alright, so we're going to want to zip this folder, which is going to be artifact folder, and we're going to zip that up to temp zip. Alright, so this will be zipping up artifact folder to temp directory. Alright, so if this, it'll throw an exception if it doesn't work. Alright, good. Okay, so then we do this S3 stuff, and then we upload this to product version. Path is going to be with that. This is just upload folder. Alright, so if temp zip equals null, then we're going to upload the whole folder. Otherwise, so slonger.info, uploading entire folder to S3. Otherwise, we're going to be uploading zip to S3. So we want our zip file. So our zip file is going to be called path, and it's going to be plus that. And then we want the product name, and then we want .zip. And that should be just fine on the end there. So s3.upload object. Yeah, there we go. This is going to be temp zip. Our bucket is just bucket, and path is path. So if this is not successful, we'll throw that exception. Failed to upload zip file to S3. Alright, once we're here, so if temp zip does not equal null, that'll be file utils.delete temp zip. Deleting temporary zip file. Alright, so that should do that whole thing. Why is this? There we go. That's unhappy there. We'll set up our debug configuration. I haven't even run this thing. Alright. So I guess it's just set there. So we want the product to be what name was that? Rack and Stack Server X64. before. We want the env to be local. We want zip to be true. So let's see what we do here. Exception, access is denied. What? Why? Why you gotta deny access to my folder? Because it doesn't exist? I haven't seen that before. I thought this code worked. Alright, so we made our temp. So let's just make sure this path exists. Yeah, it totally exists. And then it's like, no, you can't write to that. Oh, well, that's because I'm an idiot. I'm trying to zip it to, I made a temporary directory. That's not what I want to do. I want to make a temporary file. Because I'm trying to, yeah, I'm just dumb. How the hell his face went back? I don't know. But he's been in there the whole time. Alright, so we're zipping this up to our temporary directory. So we're looking for Brackensack server and local for artifact master latest. Find the latest build was 2018. Oh, it's a bot account? I don't know. He hasn't said anything in my channel or done anything, so. Alright, so now we're uploading this thing to S3. Alright, informer servers of product updates, connection to local broadcast, success. So supposedly, Alright, so Brackensec server x64 exists. Brackensec server.exe manifest. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, okay, this was a mistake. Alright, so if it's a temporary zip, otherwise the product object download is going to be the product plus zip at the end. That makes sense. So let's run it back. And we'll make sure that our projects, applications, local, Brackensec server server x64. It's only 85 megabytes. That's pretty good for downloading the server. No product plan information available for Brackensec 86. Creating product cache signatures. Access entitlement is Brackensec game. Is that set here? Brackensec access entitlement. Okay, so this is hard coded to Brackensec. That's fine. Who cares? We can fix that when we ship on Steam or whatever the hell. Okay, that looks better. It's got Brackensec server x86. Products, load products. Alright, so I need to add to the products that we actually load in. That we're actually loading in stuff. Let's see, products. Load products. Alright. So I'm going to check out pretty much all this config, and we'll sync it all up when we get there. Alright, so products, we need test product, Brackensec x86, and we need Brackensec server x64, Brackensec server x86, and let's just double check, yes, those are the correct names. Alright, so let's modify all the configs, because we can. There we go. For test and for prod. And for tools, do we have any products? That looks like we don't have anything that matters, so that should be fine. Let's just run this deployment again, because that'll refresh our cache and make us sign our stuff again, and by then we should reload our configs from disk. Let's see, it's in the system. Please look out for implementation. I'll work to make sure server access. So get all that set up. And this is kind of what happens when you're doing server work and deployment work, is you're just kind of waiting for crap to upload, which can be tedious. Alright, you can see it now. I've got my bracket stack server x64, so let's go ahead and download that. And let's go ahead and throw that somewhere. Oh no, my download folder. Alright, so we'll go to our Scratch directory. Alright, so what people are going to do is they're going to unzip this thing, and then we'll be able to run something in here for this. Alright, new game called with map LV server with options, name is player, game name set to unnamed game, port detected 777, game ID set to blah from computer name. Alright, so it looks like the server works. So that's good. So now we need to figure out how the hell we're actually going to do a few of these things. Alright, so we need to update we need to make sure we can do this from the build machine. So that means submitting this stuff. Alright, so for our tools now, we need to actually build our Java tools. Looks like I got a build failure. Let's see, why did it fail? It failed because error, generic USB controller access 1UP is not a member of FRAW input keys. C declaration of blah. Okay, that's going to be because of basically a file that didn't get copied over. Let's just make sure that we've got all that proper. and that this file was actually checked out. Yeah, okay, it's going to be that the build server needs to be cleaned before it's built next. Alright, while I'm waiting for that build, I'll be right back. Alright, so that's finished building. Let's sync those configs out in test. Alright, so that's out there in test. We shouldn't have to update anything in test to get this to work. We should just be able to deploy our product. So if we go to deploy product, let's grab bracket stack server, we'll set zip to true, and we'll deploy that to test. So let's see what we got going on. Now attempting to deploy, zipping up. Alright, so it's doing the whole zip thing. Alright, so we're going to upload that to S3. And that looks correct. It's test bracket stack server x64, 479, 895. Connecting to blah at test broadcast success. Alright, so we should be able to go to the test site. Test online, sign in as me. And Brackensack server x64 is on the download page in test, so excellent. Let's make sure I can actually download it. And we'll throw it in this kind of same place here. Something still open there? Yeah, it's going to be this command line, isn't it? Let's get rid of you. Alright, so here's our download. Let's just unzip it and make sure it looks the same. And we'll run the server. In a game called LV server, name player, game ID set by computer name, recreating tick actor. Alright, it's good to go. Awesome, so our game server is now downloadable on our website. So what we want to do is go to our deployments page, go to deploy latest to test. We're going to configure this job. We're going to, I guess, add a trigger, deploy product. It's going to be predefined parameters. So this is going to be Brackensack server x64. That looks fine. And deploy to prod. Let's see. x64, Linux. Alright, so we need more. 2 of these. So deploy product, predefined. And this is just how you set up online infrastructure. It's a whole bunch of copy paste garbage, setting stuff up. So this is Brackensack server x64. Yeah, so x64 version, Brackensack server x64 64. Key versions 10. Alright. So servers will update last for people when we update, but that won't be too much of a problem. Alright, cool. So that is deployment for Windows Linux dedicated server. I don't think we're going to support, I'm not going to support a Linux dedicated server for other people. If they want Linux dedicated servers, then they can ask me for them. Okay, so we want game option configuration for our server. Right. So how are we going to configure these things? So what are the things that we configure right now? Alright, so right now we basically, our server command line looks like, so platform env equals, so like test, we'll have server key equals like server key.json, server map is going to be, what is the Sunny map named in configs? So it looks like that for sunny day. Server port is like 7777. Beacon port is 7787. Game ID is our specific game ID. Then we have our map name. So my dedicated server. And then auto kill crap is not necessary anymore because our game doesn't crash every 2 seconds. So this is just Dashkin server.exe. So let's see if this works. We're going to need -log if we're going to want any of that to come to the forefront. Did that just blow up? Yeah, it didn't work at all, did it? Probably because I couldn't find the server key, because the server key doesn't exist. I don't like how it just closes like that. Do it one more time. Let's see. Current window mode, start play called, preparing to exit. Didn't say why it exited. It's got the map set wrong. Well, it probably loads up the server map first, regardless, so. Yeah, so if we don't specify a server key, it at least does things. Alright, map set to LV server. Well, that's just wrong. Why is it the wrong map? Alright, well, let's just go see. Server map. It's not the right search. On connect, that's probably it. The only place where we actually use this is when we actually connect to the platform. So we're going to need to get our server key stuff set up properly first. Then we'll be able to have our dedicated server actually work. So I think we need a new tab on our site, which is dedicated server. Alright, so let's think about this. So if we go to our services account page, we make like a new page. I just need to check all this out. I think if we add a new page, let's call it dedicated server. Alright, so we don't need access entitlements, we don't need any of that stuff. We don't need the entitlement codes. Owned products, probably. Alright, so this is dedicated server. We're going to want the other pages to actually link to it, so that's in the header. This will be dedicated servers. And this is going to be dedicated server button. And we need to go to our JavaScript and actually hook up the navigation for that. Alright, so that is our dedicated server button. And the name of our page is